Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. It's Tuesday, December the 6th. Three amigos reassembled. As you can see, I'm Tony Haggerty, Haggerty10 Twitter handle, and I'm joined today by Sean Martin at Sean Martin TCW and Aidan Macdonald at Aidan C Macdonald Twitter handles. How are we doing, guys?
Not bad, Tony. Still Baltic. My heating's still broke.
Oh dear, that's not so good. I can see that with the hoodie there. Aidan's got the smile of a man who's won the Celtic predictor for the Celtic player to get the furthest in the tournament. Isn't that right, Sean?
He seems to.
He's got that smug grin on his face, but we'll come to that later. Indeed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just direct your attention to the ticker tape running along the bottom. You know what we're going to say. We've got a deal for you. We've always got a deal for you. And if you subscribe to the Celtic Way and support top quality journalism covering the club you love, then you can have it for £1 for 2 months of full access to everything that's written on the website, or 25% of the yearly price, which takes it down to a marvellous 26 quid. And all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and join us. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Another good deal. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to take us up on that, that'd be great. To the subscribers who've already taken up the offers and subscribed to the site, thank you very much. Guys, a good deal all round.
Of course it is.
Mm-hmm. Aidan's got that smug look of a man who just doesn't care. He's just
he's got what he came for.
He got what he came for. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday Daizen Maeda faced off against Josip Juranovic in the World Cup last 16, and it was the Croatian who triumphed in the end on penalties. 3-1 on penalties. Japan missed 3 out of 4. Never going through with a shooting rate like that and spot kicks. But yes, Aidan predicted that Josip Juranovic would go the furthest of the Celtic players in the World Cup. So bow down to that, sir. Well done. Sean, a gallant loser. But everything.
And it certainly was, because my man scored, didn't he? So
he did indeed.
He couldn't have done much more to try and get that. I'm sure he was driven by my predictor more than anything else.
It looked good for a while, but Perisic's header was something else. But let's talk about the game and the two Celts in particular. And Sean, I want to bring your attention to that wonderful moment at the end where the two of them kind of shared an embrace. Maeda was pretty emotional about it all, and Juranovic just kind of kissed him in the head, and was it Fabian Barthez style, wasn't it? When Laurent Blanc kissed him in the head and just sort of gave him some words of consolement. I don't imagine anything that he said would have made it any better, but it was just nice to see that the two of them having that wee embrace and just kind of recognising each other. And because they are teammates, it was just nice of him to go over and kind of keep him in mind, despite the fact he probably chuffed that he was in the quarter-final. Brian Roberts there, very poignant, picking two teammates, one consoling the other. And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Sorry, an ill-timed cough there. I know, it was a nice touch from Juranovic. I think, I'm probably can't put it any better myself. Actually, Helen Freets comes in, a true Celtic moment, and Jerry McCann says proud of the boys. I think it was a nice touch from Juranovic to even think to go over, because not every day you get into a World Cup quarter-final. And remember, for Juranovic's point of view, he wasn't in that squad in 2018.
Yeah.
So it is really, this is uncharted territory. Uncharted territory for him. So for him to think in that moment, I better go and see Daizen, make sure he's all right, I think that's credit to him. Shows you what a kind of presence he is in a Celtic changing room and a good teammate.
Aidan, you get any consoling words for us two in a kind of Josip Juranovic style, or are you just kind of no caring? As the consoling words, get it up the Perries, something like that?
The consoling words are no comment on your predictions, but to be fair, obviously I did have a few shockers in terms of saying Brazil were going to flop. Obviously, in terms of the game, I thought both players played quite well, and I completely agree with what you both said there and what the commenters were saying. It was a nice moment at the end with Juranovic and Maeda. So, yeah, it's one of them had to lose. You know what I mean? It's never going to be nice both would have been absolutely desperate to get to the quarterfinals. I think probably at the start of the tournament, if you said the two teams were going to meet, probably would have predicted Croatia of the two to get through. But given Japan's heroics against Germany and Spain, who are probably thinking maybe they'll pull off another sort of shock. But yeah, it was both of them played pretty well, and it'll be in the long run it will benefit them both in terms of experience.
Sean, I know Postecoglou does it and kind of rotates his squad and takes the Daizen Maeda off 65 minutes, 70 minutes, that kind of thing. But I was genuinely surprised he came off yesterday. I thought he was playing really well.
I think it's the mission statement that he's given is just expend every bit of energy that you possibly can in those 65 minutes, and then we'll give somebody else the last 25, although obviously it turned out to be the last 55 or something. But I mean, it didn't go unnoticed, did it? It was good for him to get on the score sheet at a World Cup. That's just something that I'm sure he's dreamed of all his life. But it was good to see the praise he was getting from pundits, and I say pundits specifically, not commentators, because the commentators weren't particularly full of praise for him in the first half. I'm sure you saw, if you're on Twitter, I tweeted out what Rio Ferdinand says, but Aidan, I think it was Aidan, done a news line on the website about it just at half time. Rio Ferdinand basically channeling every SPFL defender when he said he's an absolute live wire. He looks like a man possessed. You wouldn't want to play against it. With him without the ball, he's an absolute nuisance, all that kind of stuff. So it's good to see him get that kind of praise at that level on that stage as well.
Indeed, I mean, I saw that and I read both the article and I saw your tweet as well, Sean. And I think you will the guys to do well, don't you? Bottom line.
Yeah.
And it's good to see that at least one of the Celtic players are in the latter stages of the tournament. I think Josip Juranovic, Croatia now play Brazil. Is that right, Aidan?
Yeah. Croatia, Brazil's the next game. So also I've been looking at that with keen interest. Just once again giving my brilliant predictions. So aye. But
speaking of Tony, since he's set us up nicely for it there, I'll shove it up again and we can have a wee look at that, because Tony, I'm not far behind you with incorrect calls at this stage. So Aidan, you're on for 4 out of 6 if things go the right way.
The Brazil one was a bit of a shocker, but to be fair, for biggest flop, I don't know what I was thinking of. But
we've all got the biggest flop wrong, I think, so far. Tony, you're actually probably closest, because Kane's got 3 assists and a goal, isn't he? 2 goals, a goal, so probably not. But we've all got flop wrong. We've all got dark horses wrong. Aidan's obviously get Celtic to go furthest. You might as well. I mean, Mbappe's on for the Golden Boot as well, isn't he? So Golden Ball, Messi. You never know. Still, I think that only happens if Argentina win it, which would give Aidan, Argentina, Mbappe, Messi, and Juranovic. So that's a good quadruple.
Indeed. The least said about my predictions, the better. So
you really need Vinicius Junior to have a stormer in the last couple of rounds and win it, Tony. I think. Don't you?
I do, yeah. And I thought he was on course last night when he opened the score, and I was like, "Yeah, that's what we like to see."
He played well, he did.
Yeah, just in general, I think Brazil played well. To be fair, but hey, there you have it. It is what it is. But no, Aidan doing well. Sean, mixed bag. Me, just trash can. Throw them all in the bin. But there you have it. Now, something else, Sean, that came out of this, and Aidan wrote an article on it yesterday, was Celtic's interest in Cho. Now, there are various European clubs chasing him, according to his agents. That came out in the Korean press. And I think 2 of them were discounted, weren't they? I believe. But I'll go to Aidan first. Sorry, Sean. And because Aidan, you wrote the piece on it, didn't you? There was 2 clubs that have been discounted, but Celtic weren't discounted, were they?
No, Celtic weren't discounted. It was a Korean outlet, of which I'll not try and pronounce, but it was they had reported that Fenerbahce and Rennes, I think it was, had expressed interest in the player, but they were no longer considering him. But there was still a host of other European clubs tracking him, of which I think we can assume, given the sort of links that Celtic must be amongst that. So it does show you that the player, I'm sure if the agents are aware of it, the player's aware of interest, whether that be from Celtic or other clubs. So it seems like one that's not going away. So just need to wait and see on that. But how did you actually think he he played last night.
Just about to
Cho
say that.
against Brazil.
It's a difficult thing to assess when your team's getting kind of ripped apart at the back, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it's not his fault.
I mean, they did score and the ball was up there a couple of times near him, but I don't think it was the best game to judge him, especially in terms of a fit for Celtic. Overall, 2 goals in a tournament. I know they both came in the same game, but still 2 goals at a World Cup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that adds value to him, doesn't it? To be fair,
unfortunately for Celtic, yes, it probably does add value.
At that level, so and again, you can look at it the same way with Maeda too. So it's, but yeah, I think you're right, Sean. I think last night was probably, it would be harsh to judge him on that because Brazil just really ripped South Korea apart, didn't they? And he didn't have much service, but as you say, based on the 2 goals he scored, okay, they came in the same game, and the snippets that you've seen, he would be a worthwhile addition if the deal and the contract's right and Celtic can swing it.
Well, as Aidan said there, his agent name-checked, it was a story with his agent in the Korean press, so he name-checked Fenerbahce and Rennes as 2 clubs who are not interested. So by omission, they understand that Celtic are one of those that are still interested because Celtic have been linked as much, if not more, than the 2 that he did mention. So by omission, the understanding is that Celtic are still interested or are interested. So nonetheless, we did get Stuart Ross to do a scout report on Cho, but with a twist this time, Tony.
Yes, he did.
Didn't he? Yes, he did. We don't necessarily think Celtic will sign 2 strikers unless maybe Giakoumakis does actually leave in January. So what Stuart did was he tried to compare Cho with the other striker that Celtic are linked to, who is Said Hamulic, a Dutchman who plays in Poland for Stal Mielec. So that the kind of aim of that, rather than just going deep into one of them, was to kind of try and compare the 2 of them to see which of the 2, on the understanding you won't sign both, which of the 2 would be the better fit at Parkhead. So I'll put that in the comments, and that is well worth a read. It was very interesting, and I will not give a game away with one because it does take a stance, Stuart. He assesses both. He does say both are exciting, both have got their similarities, but he does think one would fit better than the other. One's a more well-rounded striker. So I'll throw that in the comments, and if you want a wee read of that, that's on the site just now.
Indeed. And also, speaking of strikers, I wrote the digest on Kyogo Furuhashi. If you wanted to go, I'm sure Sean will put the link up to that. And have a read about that and his comments that he made in the Athletic the other day, which I thought augured well for Ange Postecoglou and Celtic, and even putting the disappointment of the World Cup behind him, he's not really thought about it much, as his comments will say. So, yeah, if Kyogo Furuhashi comes back reinvigorated after the break, then I think the Celtic, in fact, I think the Premiership defences had better watch out because he's gunning for them again, and you wouldn't put it past him to be up there or thereabouts with the top goal scorer charts is concerned. And it's and I like that, Sean. I like the attitude that they're showing there. As I mentioned in the piece, he didn't have a pop at the Japanese national team manager, and there was no kind of feeling sorry for himself. He was just concentrated fully on win Celtic's next game, and this is what I've been doing.
Yeah, I don't think that seems to be in Kyogo's nature, does it?
No.
The taking a pop or being anything but positive, really, whether it's on the park or off it. That seems to be his nature. So, but it would have been easy. It would have been easy for him. I know he wasn't speaking during the tournament. It was an interview that was conducted before it, but it was after, as you pointed out, it was after he knew that he wasn't in the squad. So it would have been easy for him to kind of, woe is me, feel a wee bit disappointed. It would have been easy, and it would have been understandable because it's a World Cup, and of the Celtic players, he's of an age where you think, will he get another chance at a World Cup squad? I mean, he has seen the silver lining in that as well. He's talking about retiring anytime after he's 35, so another 2 World Cup cycles, and there's more chances and stuff. He definitely sees that there is more chances to go to a World Cup, but we were all thinking, well, was this his time? Was this the last time he's probably going to get a chance? So it would have been easy for him and understandable, as I say, for him to feel sorry for himself, but it didn't come across like that at all. His attitude seems to remain the same, as I say, whether it's on a pitch or off it. And like you said in your piece, that if anything, that bodes well for Celtic going for a treble if he's going to come back. Not with a point to prove, but just being the same old Kyogo, not letting it get to him, really, more than anything else.
Aidan, same old Kyogo, always scoring. that what you're hoping for when he comes back?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was playing okay even before the break. To be honest, I think we discussed kind of at times that his stats weren't that far off where he was this time last season. So yeah, if he's even more, reinvigorated and performing even better than he already was, and it's only a positive for Celtic because we know it's going to be such a busy schedule in terms of fixtures. Obviously, there's no European football, but there's plenty of domestic football to play. So yeah, if Kyogo's a fit and firing and at his absolute best, then it's only a good thing for Celtic and for Ange.
Beach
10
Boys
days.
coming in,
Oh,
Tony,
there you go.
just saying it's not just Kyogo, Hatate too, and Hatate will be a far better player for Celtic. I agree, but I do think there was more disappointment in the Kyogo side because Hatate was always on the fringes of that Japan squad.
Yeah.
I know we see him all the time and we do think he would add something to the squad, but ultimately it was a bit of a stretch, I think, to think that he was going to get in the squad. Whereas with Kyogo, he was in it and then get left out it. So that as I say, it would have been understandable for him to be feeling sorry for himself at that point.
Sean, it's 10 days till domestic football starts up again. Has it been long? The break been too long for you? Are you champing at the bit? Are you World Cup keeping you going? No, really, or
not really. No, not really. 17th of December. Looking forward to Aberdeen at Pittodrie. Always a good one. So I am looking forward to that. No, I think the World Cup's been no bad, right? It has been no bad, and it's good having football on every day. But I think you'll probably all agree it's not the same. It's got an international. An international break in general is not the same. Anyway, but a World Cup at this time of year is not necessarily the same. The fact it's in Qatar is not necessarily the same. So it's covered a wee bit with some of the games. Some of the games have been decent, which has covered the cracks a wee bit. But no, I think I'm looking forward to 17th of December. Tony, you?
Oh, without a doubt. Aidan, you missing the domestic football? I'm peeling the windows of the advent calendar and just wishing the days away, to be honest. You know what I mean? So there you have it.
Yeah, I'm missing the domestic football. I completely agree with what Sean was saying. The World Cup has been good to an extent, but you want to get the sort of bread and butter back, given that Celtic are hopefully reinvigorated. A lot of the players with a good break, or the majority, obviously, except the players that are with the World Cup. Given some of the football that's been played after breaks in the past over the last few years, you would hope that it's going to be a sort of continuation of that. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting time, plenty of football on. So yeah, looking forward to getting it back, Tony.
Given this is the Celtic way, not the World Cup way.
Exactly. I have enjoyed talking about Messi, to be fair. In fact, just talking to the World Cup way before we finish on that point, Jude Bellingham, Tony, the other night, thought he played quite well.
Oh, Tony, he's not letting this go. He's not letting it go.
World class Jude Bellingham.
Yes, world class Jude Bellingham. Yeah.
The wee undercurrent there, just for everybody watching, is that Aidan said the other day that he felt that Jude Bellingham was world class, and both myself and Tony just disagreed, thinking that he's a very, very talented player, playing very, very well at the moment. But it's a bit far to say that he's already reached world class, and Aidan's just not letting it go, basically.
Yes, and I hope that world class player ends up out the tournament, Aidan. Can't we have
same. I should agree with that, but
but yeah, England play France on Saturday, I believe. But doesn't matter if you tune into the World Cup coverage, you would think England were playing France tomorrow or just now or whatever game's on. It's like 2 minutes of coverage of that, and then it's there. But it was ever thus, wasn't it? I'm sure we'll get to that at some point. But no, it's yeah, you just miss your diet of domestic football, don't you? It's you kind of, and as you say, Sean, as much as the World Cup's been good and it's had its moments, it's still not been enough to sustain myself. I'm champing at the bit for because I want to see how Celtic perform after the break. I want to see if they put the afterburners on and they really do kind of cement their lead at the top, currently 9 points, and I'm interested also to see the challenge as well from the others. I want to see how Michael Beale's Rangers shape up and see what's coming. Obviously the Celtic Rangers game's early January, so we'll find it out soon enough. But that whole dynamic has got me kind of okay.
It's interesting. I'm kind of intrigued tactically with that myself, just to see. But I suppose the easy answer to that is that Celtic being 9 points clear. If Celtic do put the afterburners on, then it doesn't matter what happens at Ibrox. That kind of thing. But I'm intrigued by it myself. I'm not going to lie. Tactically, as much as anything else. But 2nd of January, I think, won't give a full reflection of it. I think it'll be the one after that. But although I'm still looking forward to January 2nd as well. I agree with you. Can I just say we've had some trouble? It seemed to have some trouble streaming through Facebook today. I've had to remove it and re-add it a couple of times, so it might be up there as like three separate parts. But it should be there, and it seems to be working again just now. But just if anybody's watching on Facebook and you're getting kind of intermittent pauses or whatever, it's probably that, and it might be there as 3 parts rather than one stream. But
and I was going to point out that I'm getting a new kitchen fitted, so if you hear banging and stuff, then you'll know what it is. But
it's been all right, Tony. I think you need to get down and check the guy's still there.
I won't say that we've paid him for the job because I don't know if we have a daughter, but my good lady takes care of that kind of thing, you know. So
he's watching this briefing and just enjoying a cup of tea, I think.
Whilst I'm in my cubby hole in here, I delegate responsibility on all these kind of things. But there you go. But if there was,
Tony, just quickly going to put this up just as a wee enticement. Michael Ross says, Sean, is there a scouting report on the Egyptian player Mohamed Magdi? There will be. Yep, I've spoke to Stuart about that. And we've agreed that when it becomes maybe a wee bit more firm, the interest, if we can firm it up a wee bit, then he'll get to work on that and do an in-depth one on him. And I'm actually really excited about that one. I've deliberately avoided talking about him the last couple of days, guys, because when I was reading into him, I like the look of him. Really like the look of him, and I know when I'm doing a scout report, I focus a good wee bit on the club that they might be coming from and stylistic fit in terms of that. And he's coming from Al Ahly, or he would be coming from Al Ahly, Tony, and they're the world's most successful club. So in terms of an audition to come for the pressure that comes with coming to Celtic, I mean, it's fair enough. And he's a 2-time AFC Champions League winner, having scored the player of the match in both finals and different things. So I like the look of this guy. But in terms of a scout report, stay tuned, because I have spoken to Stuart about it, but we want to wait until there's a wee bit more substantial than just a couple of reports, put it that way.
Subtext to that, Aidan, is Sean's trying not to get too excited about a player who's exciting him with the prospect of him coming to Celtic. You know, I guess that's I'm reading a wee bit into Sean's thoughts on that. Your own thoughts, Aidan? Have you had a look at Mohamed Magdi yet?
Yeah, the sort of brief parts of stuff I've looked at, I'm including the potentially fatal YouTube clip compilation, which I know we've been stung with many a time. He does look an exciting player, and you can see exactly why Andrew would be interested in bringing him to the club. So yeah, if the links get a bit more stronger, I'll be excited to read the Stuart scouting report on that.
Thing is, as well, Sean, they've already got 2 in, but it's just good that they are being linked with players of repute. Yeah. And whether they can bring them to the club is another thing. But again, go back to it. If Ange's involved, he obviously will be involved, but you do feel that players like that, if Ange can get to them and speak to them, then he can sell the vision and the dream for the club to them. And guys can be seduced by that. Players have been in the past and signed because, and they've mentioned the fact that it was the manager that brought them and stuff like that. So that's another reason why you trust the manager in these kind of situations. If it gets to that point where the guy says, okay, I'm willing to listen to what you've got to say, then I don't think we'll get any better manager in that situation than Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, with this instance in particular with Mohamed Magdi, what I would say is I think he's 26, so he's already an established player. This isn't necessarily a project.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if he is 26, I've just checked it there. If he comes to Celtic, especially off the back of being at Al Ahly for a few years and winning galore, I think he's won 8 trophies in 2-3 years or whatever. But then you wouldn't imagine this is a guy that you're bringing in with the intention of reselling in a season or two for big money. I mean, it could happen. You never know. It might happen with Juranovic. He arrived at 26. But do you know what I'm getting at? It's a good age. It's a kind of almost coming into your peak years age, rather than a young project to sell for big money later, or an aging player that you're not going to make money on. So there's something in that as well, that there's more of those players maybe coming in the door than there was.
Yeah,
there was before Ange Postecoglou.
The phrase is oven ready, isn't it?
Yeah,
who's kind of entered into the football lexicon. Aidan, oven ready players that you're not taking them out the wrapper. They're already out the wrapper. They are the kind of article that they are. Maybe not the finished article, but they're a player of repute and can hold their own in a Celtic team and can not so much walk in, but given the chance, they'll stake their claim straight away for a first team place.
Yeah, no, completely. And I think it's good to have the balance throughout the squad. You want to have some sort of young development talents coming through, whether it's players you sign or players you're bringing through the youth academy, and then have a couple, or maybe in the case of, we've got quite a few probably at the moment, Juranovic, Kyogo, Yakimakis, etc. Players that are in their peak right now or just about to hit it. So, yeah, it's good to have a balance, I think. And yeah, this guy does look some player. So if Celtic are near bringing him in, then it's going to make the squad even better. So I'm excited about it, definitely.
You're big on ages, aren't you, Sean? In terms of contractually and just in terms of kind of but the age of football.
Yes, I like to.
You mention a lot though. To be fair, but there's a logic behind it. That's what I'm talking about.
I had as much as I was talking about the kind of contract expiry dates and stuff, and the age that people would be at the end of those contracts. I also had an article. I can't remember exactly what the title was, so I can't dig it out at the moment. But basically, I'd done a similar type graphic as the contracts one, but it was with age brackets.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 23 and younger, and then I think 24 to 27, and then 28 and above. And it was again, it made for good reading. The composition of the squad is a good mix. It's a good good squad composition, where a right good balance between younger players that have still to come into kind of what you would say financial years in terms of selling, and players that are already at a kind of peak, and they'll be at Celtic for that peak if they're still here. So aye.
Which is why I mentioned it, because I know there's a logic behind the process. That's why, and I was hoping you would dig out the article, but I guess we'll find it at a later date. Now, Aidan spoke about youth players and prospects coming through. Now, we wanted to touch upon both the Celtic women's team and the B team, Sean.
Yeah.
Celtic women's team won 7-0 the other day, and are ticking along nicely. And the B team, I believe, won 5-0. So it's good news for both the women and the Celtic B team of late, is it not?
Yeah, but I didn't quite get around to it yesterday amid the other stuff, even though I think I favourited a comment. I think it was Helen Freaks' comment on the women's team. But the women's team smashed Dundee United 7-0. Hat-trick for Shen Meng-yu, plus goals from Clarissa Larisey, Amy Gallagher, Maria McInerney and Tyree Burchell. It was their 10th win in 12 league games, guys, with one draw in there as well. Their goal difference is already 52 in that time. Although in a league with Glasgow City and Rangers, that's actually good for only third place so far, if you can imagine. They're 1 point off Rangers, who are second and 3 behind City. So they're going really well for Anne Alonso's side, but it is some ask in the SWPL at the moment, as they found out last year. But they did win, remember, a cup double last year. They have the makings of it this year to challenge that for that league title. And it's hard, don't get me wrong, it is a hard ask. I covered Aberdeen women before moving down the road, and that they get promoted into that league. They ended up finishing 5th. They did well under Emma Hunter, but it's very hard to break first of all, to break the Glasgow City stranglehold, which Rangers obviously did, but then to break into the Rangers and Glasgow City stranglehold. So Celtic did it in the cups last year, and I suppose the big ask this year is, can they do it in the league?
Indeed. Now, Glasgow City and Rangers are two excellent sides in the Women's Premier League, Aidan. But as Sean said there, Celtic are making inroads, but that's some level of consistency and to still be third tells you all you need to know about Glasgow City and Rangers. But 10 wins out of 12, one draw in there, and they're still third. A point behind Rangers, 3 behind Glasgow City, but you look at that margin for error at the top, it's not much, is it?
No, it's not, and it just shows you sort of the top half of the Scottish Women's Premier League, how strong it is really. And as Sean mentioned, Glasgow City up until last season were the standard bearers in terms of just winning pretty much everything all the time. So I think Rangers went unbeaten last year, didn't they? So they had to have pretty much a phenomenal season in the league to actually beat them, be pretty much flawless. So yeah, Celtic had good progress last year, obviously winning the 2 cups, and Fran Alonso seems like a good coach, knows exactly what he's talking about. So it's definitely positives being made. Whether or not this season, the fact that their goal difference is so positive and they're sitting 3rd place might be too much of a maybe step to win the league this year, but definitely positive in the team's developing. You've seen really since Fran Alonso's came in, there's been development each year, whether it was in the Champions League sort of qualification stages for the first time, then winning the cup. So hopefully this season they can go again, but even if it's a case of building for next season, it's looking positive for them at the moment.
Just seems to be a good fit, doesn't he, Fran Alonso, for the Celtic women's team, Sean?
Yep, I think so. Everything he talks really well, as Aidan referenced there. He's on the YouTube channel. His press conferences also get put up there, same as the first teams do, and they don't get as many views, perhaps naturally, but they should get more views because he does talk a lot of sense. He talks very, very well. You can see the project that he's got in mind, and as I say, it's very, very difficult in the SWPL in terms of the league. But with that kind of bedrock of the cups last year, you've got to be feeling positive about it.
Now, the Celtic B team, Sean, you were bigging up them. They won 5-0 the other day,
Yep.
and we sort of highlight some B team players that we hope can make that first team breakthrough. Rocco Vata's been mentioned in dispatches recently as well, but they're ticking along nicely too.
Yep. They battled Edinburgh University, I think it was 5-0. Ben McPherson, Corey Thompson, Joey Dawson, if you remember him from the Boxing Day game last year, and then Ben Quinn got a couple again for the second time in a few weeks, I think. But it leaves them second behind Rangers at the top of the Lowland League. Now they're 5 points behind, 12 wins, 3 draws, and 3 defeats from their 18 games, I think. But do you know what that means, Tony? Because of the kind of Spanish style, you can't get promoted stuff. It means that your hometown team, East Kilbride, are de facto promotion candidates in third, Tony.
There you have it. So. The East Kilbride Stadium was just up the road from my house, actually, yes. And I remember going to see them play against Cowdenbeath.
Mm-hmm.
They lost in penalties at Central Park, and they would have entered the pyramid. Sadly, they succumbed there, but there you go. But
speaking of Cowdenbeath, it wasn't so long ago that they were in the Championship.
Correct.
And I don't even think they're anywhere near it in the Lowland League. I think they're bottom 5 or so.
Yeah, the East Kilbride lost a playoff a few years ago, and I remember going there. I felt sorry because there's a lot of friends that I know that are involved in East Kilbride. But no, that'd be good. By de facto, if East Kilbride can keep that up, that remains to be seen. But yeah, it'd be good for the town, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, that's a boon for them to be third to Rangers and Celtic. No, that's some levels of consistency there.
You mentioned Rocco Vata. He wasn't in the squad. He's been, as far as I understand it, with the first team since Sydney.
Yeah.
Same with Boston Lowell and Toby Obulayemi, I think. Yeah, because he wasn't in the squad as well. Going well. It's going well for both of those, the B team and the women's team. Celtic B are actually back in action tonight, I think. I think they play Berwick Rangers tonight. So,
and that's good for the likes of Boston Lowell, Vata and Obulayemi. Aidan, getting that trip to Australia and just being in and around the first team and seeing the demands that at training every day, see what you're being asked to do. And I know that the training is simulated for the B team, but it's a wee bit different maybe when you step up, when you train with the first team players, because the quality ranks up quite a few notches, and but it's good to get them in and around that so that you have no fear of throwing them in. And Sean referenced Joey Dawson playing in Boxing Day last year, and he came in and he did a job, didn't he? He did everything bar score.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joey Dawson was pretty solid in that game, from what I can remember of it. Just to sort of touch on when you were talking about players' development there, I'm sure that really did help the B team players that went and were over in Australia and getting in the sort of a training camp under Ange Postecoglou. I'm sure that's only a positive for them, and I think it can only be a good thing that the training's similar to an extent that they're doing every day, because when they can move up to the first team, yes, obviously it'll be a lot more intense and you're playing with not even just better but more experienced players, but it must be a benefit rather than going into sort of cold turkey. So yeah, it's all seems positive from a B team perspective at the moment. I know probably maybe you would hope that maybe more players could get first team minutes, but the squad's so strong at the minute, and it's Celtic, as much as they are 9 points clear in the league, it is a good cushion, but you don't want to let that slip at all. So you can understand why at this stage in the season the manager doesn't want to suddenly introduce a lot of younger players, but quite a lot of them got minutes in pre-season. And also Wall was involved in Rocco Vata was involved in the Australian tour. So, maybe come the end of the season, potentially they might be involved slightly again if things are going really well. We'll just have to wait and see. But it all looks positive at the moment on the B team front.
Sean, that is the point, isn't it? That Aidan
Yep.
makes sure that it's hard to see where they would fit in just now in terms of first team because of the squad being strong. But we spoke earlier about if Celtic can put on the afterburners and stretch that lead at the top, then you might well see the likes of Rocco Vata and Boston Law getting game time and minutes. And
Yeah, I
hopefully
think
that's the case.
I think when I wrote my Rocco Vata piece about Sydney, I done the kind of mini squad depth thing, looking at the positions he could play with, who would be in front of him. It's very, very difficult to see where he would get game time. It's just as difficult to see that for Boston Lowell at the moment as well, because Stephen Welsh is struggling to get game time, and he's considered to be above him in the pecking order, obviously. So it's difficult. But you never know if Celtic, the phrase you mentioned there, if they put on the afterburners and they end up kind of walking away with it in a kind of Martin O'Neill type way, then you could get a couple of Sean Maloney's getting blooded in. Do you know what I mean? That kind of attitude. It might be closer at the end of the season before you see that. But
and Sean Maloney at Ibrox that day is always the one that springs to my mind. It was like, who's this guy? And he came on and he did well. And I actually thought he was going to steal Henrik Larsson's we goal. He scored the 50th goal of the season because he had the chance to kind of tap it in, but he sensibly let it go. And he missed
sensibly because he'd have been out the team.
And I remember Martin O'Neill giving an interview because he missed a one-on-one, I think, with Stefan Kloss, and he said at the time that Maloney was really, really disappointed because he puts him away in training, it's second nature. So I remember that. So that's one to obviously want to keep your eyes on, and hopefully that's the way the season pans out. And it'd be good to see the likes of Rocco Vata and Bosun Law and even Joy Dawson again coming into the team, because that's when you know that Celtic were maybe in a comfortable position league-wise, Aidan, and you could breathe at the top. Because as you say, 9 points, whilst it's a healthy lead, it just takes a couple of games to go awry, doesn't it? Like a St Mirren, and there's a spanner in the works again.
Yeah, no, definitely. And if you're introducing the players at this point and then you end up with some, hypothetically, you would end up with a couple of poor results, if you're the manager, the coaching staff, etc., you're just opening yourself up for criticism there. So I don't think I could see it happen anytime soon. Potentially, maybe the Scottish Cup game against Morton. You never know. I think he'll still want to have a relatively strong team. I mean, obviously when Celtic played Alloa in that first game last season in the Scottish Cup, there was some players that came in, but I know he ended up getting injured, but you still had guys like Cal McGregor, etc. playing. So I don't know if I could see it there. But end of the season, if things have went really well, then I think you could potentially see some of the B players introduced, which would be good.
I'm laughing at that, Sean, because remember we predicted 11 for that Alloa game.
Yeah,
I don't think we were anywhere near it, were we?
No. As often the case.
Yeah, he made so many changes, didn't he? I mean, that was just a team from left field. So I wonder if he would do the same against Morton. I'm maybe not so sure because we spoke about it after.
I think he will make changes, but it might not be quite on the Alloa scale.
Well, that's nearly 40 minutes, guys. You could talk all day about Celtic and Celtic-related matters, couldn't you? But I will once again direct you to the ticker tape running along the bottom. It's a festive deal, let's call it that way. And it's £1 for 2 months of full access to everything that's written on the website, and or 25% off the yearly price, which takes it down to £26. And all you have to do is hit that button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Take advantage of that deal. We thank everybody that has subscribed to the site. We love it. We love the kind of engagement we get every morning in the comment section and the to and fro. But it's a wonderful deal. We thank everybody that took advantage of the Black Friday deal as well. So, but you know what to do. Just hit the button and join us. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Now, all that remains for me to say is thank you, Aidan, for your contribution. Always enjoy it. And Sean, first class as always. Take care, guys. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Same time, same bat channel.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.